Hey guys, Scare9 here, welcome back to my channel today, and this is going to be my official guide for the Void configuration puzzle within the 0 Hour quest, or whatever you want to call it. It's kind of like a dungeon, but it's not. That's besides the point. This is going to be how you complete the first of 3 puzzles, the Void configuration. Now, why would you complete this? This is how you are going to be able to unlock this schematic for a secret ship that we don't know what it looks like yet, but it is an exotic ship, and this is the only way to get it. And I would also like to note that if the Whisper quest is anything to go by, the Void configuration is probably only available on weeks where the Void burn is the active burn in the heroic version of this mission. So you will only have an opportunity to do this probably every 3 weeks. So just keep that in mind. So how do you start it? What does this entail? It's very lengthy. You need to have completed the heroic version of this mission before in order for this data pad to show up. So this is not going to be a guide on what is different between the normal and heroic versions of this mission. I am strictly going to assume that you know how to do the heroic version, you have done it before, and guide you from there. So as soon as you start the mission, you load in, you go through in the very first room where you actually kill enemies. If you go back to where Eva Levante was in Destiny 1, there will be a data pad sitting on a shelf, and you will get the Void configuration. So that is how you start this quest. Now it requires you to find 3 hidden key cards as well as get 49 SIVA particulates. These are all different steps. We'll go through them individually. So first off, there are 3 key cards that you can get while going through this mission. The first one is in the room directly after the event. So whenever you break out in the open, to the left is the ship where you would go underneath in the normal mode. To the right are the vents that look like an E. You go in the far one. As soon as you drop down that vent and you go into the very next room, if you turn around and go underneath the scaffolding and keep going underneath the stairs through a couple of vents, you will find your first card. This is very important because if it's not here, that means you did not pick up the quest. If you do not pick up the quest, then you can't find the keys because they don't spawn in. And then anytime you leave the activity, you once again have to pick up that quest, but make sure you get this first key card. Now, the second key card is going to be right before the wall bit jump puzzle. So like where you're on the edge of the wall. The room right before that, before you go through the tubes, there's another set of stairs. If you go to the very far right side of the room, you walk once again underneath the scaffolding, you will find the second card sitting right there. I believe that is the green one. And then the final one is going to be the red card. This is what you find right after the wall jump puzzle. So you finish it, you go through the entire thing, you jump along the outside of the wall all the way. Whenever you get to that room, you take a hard left. There's a secret corner to the room that you can't see because it's so dark, but if you walk in there and you crouch in the vent, you will find the red card. So now you have all 3 of the data cards. That is super important. Make sure you get all 3 or else you have to restart the mission and you cannot do this next step. So whenever you get all 3 of these, continue normally till the vault room, which is going to be the room with all of the different relics. You know, it has the astronaut helmet, a couple Dreaming City rocks, and that sort of thing. It's expansive, it's giant. You'll know the room when you see it. It's right after the floor that catches you on fire if you step on the wrong one. This is where the main part of this puzzle is going to take place. So I want to break down this room, but before I do want to show you a couple of images that are going to be very useful in solving this puzzle. I do want to give credit to the Destiny Raid Secrets community. They have been super helpful. Specifically, I want to give credit to the math class team. They set up the Google Doc that helped us solve all this, Hoplite, who set up the Discord server, and then Glad, who on Twitter gave this really awesome image here that pretty much condenses everything into one image. It essentially helps you solve this entire thing. So I will have links to all of those guys, their Twitters or the Discord servers and the subreddit, all of that down in the description below. I'm not taking credit for any of it. They are incredibly useful resources though, so I do want to share them with you. So in this room, there are 7 main colored rooms, 4 on the left side, 3 on the right. They are all different colors. You can tell the colors by looking at the crystals that glow that certain color. So on the left side, you will have red, yellow, white, and then green. And then on the right side, you have cyan, blue, and then purple. So those are going to be your colorful rooms. Each one has 7 data consoles that you can interact with once you start this puzzle, but you're not going to want to do that right away. Here, we had to create a standardized numbering system for all of the consoles within the 7 colored rooms, just because it can get kind of confusing. So if you look on the picture on screen, you can see that in the very center, there's kind of this numbering system 1 through 7 in the very center of the kind of room layout picture. This is going to be how the consoles are numbered in every single one of these rooms, regardless of where it is in the map. That is as if you were looking into the room. So 1 will always be of the far right corner of the room, and so on. This is very useful because it allowed us to put everyone's successes into a database, correlate that to whatever console it always goes to, which we will talk about in a second. So now we know these 7 colored rooms. We know how to number all 7 of the consoles within those 7 rooms, so we can move on to how do we know which consoles to press. Every one of these consoles has a corresponding 3 sequence code, each part of it which consists of 2 numbers. So this means that there are 3 steps, each one consisting of 2 numbers. And you can see that in the left-hand side of this image as well. You can just see that a bunch of these different numbers correspond to certain terminals in certain color rooms. How do we get those numbers? Within the main room, there are 3 kind of main frames that you are able to interact with, and they will give you a certain number sequence. There are 3 of these, like I said. 1 is in the far left-hand middle kind of hallway area. 1 is halfway up the hallway area on the right side, and the last one is kind of right to your left as you walk in the room. Once again, all 3 of these main frames, as I'm going to be referring to them, are in the main hallway. You don't actually go into the colored rooms. These things have 2 circles on them, 1 on the left, 1 on the right. And within these circles, a certain segment of it is going to be yellow. And this is going to correspond to a certain number, which you can see on the bottom right-hand part of the image that I'm showing you on screen right now. So the 2 colors will be highlighted. You will be able to translate those, just like with a clock, into a certain number, and that will be your number sequence for that terminal. Now, normally, Bungie expects us to go through and get all 3 of these. However, as you can see in the graph, you will never need more than 2 of these, and for 90% of them, you will only need the sequence from Terminal 1. So, for instance, if you look on the graph, let's say you go to Terminal 1, someone is standing there looking at it, and they determine that the yellow segments are in the positions that give you the numbers 2 and 4. You can look on this graph, look directly for 2, 4 on the console 1 segment, which is, the very left-hand side. You can see that it corresponds to the green 2 terminal. So you go into the green room and you click the corresponding terminal, which is going to be right to your right as you walk in. You have to do that 49 times in a row in order to complete this puzzle. It's really not that bad. Now, some of these you do need a second sequence. For instance, if you look at 1-1 for console 1, there are 2 options for console 2 that will actually give you different terminals based on what that is. So if you are looking through this and say the person at mainframe 1 gets 1-1, then you have to have a person stationed at mainframe 2 to give you his sequence in order to determine whether you need to hit white 1 or red 2. That is very important. So how I would recommend having this: have a dedicated person on mainframe 1, have a dedicated person on mainframe 2, and then have a person running around hitting the correct terminals every time. This way it is super simple, everyone has their jobs, and you should be able to knock this out very quickly. Now, it is also worth noting that every time you get a correct terminal, I believe you get like 15 to 20 seconds added to your time for the mission, so you should not run out of time. It is pretty straightforward. So that is going to be it. You have to do this 49 times in a row, like I said. Remember, all you have to do is have the person at mainframe 1 call out his sequence, the 2 numbers. If this does not automatically correspond to one of the 49 terminals, have the second person at mainframe 2 call out their sequence, and that will give you enough information for the runner to go and activate the terminal. Once you do this 49 times in a row, you'll be rewarded with a ton of SIVA fragments, which will give you more progress towards the catalyst, as well as the ship schematic. So this makes it so that whenever you complete the Void, Arc, and Solar Week configurations, you will be able to get the ship. We do not have the Arc and Solar Weeks yet. Expect guides on those if they are different in the upcoming weeks. And then it also makes it so you can unlock the Catalyst within 3 weeks instead of 5. So I hope you guys did find this guide useful. If you have any questions at all, if I forgot anything, let me know down in the comment section below. I will be more than happy to help you guys out. Just answer any questions you have. It can be very confusing, but I think I did a pretty good job of breaking down each of the individual steps here. So let me know if you have any more questions questions down in the comment section. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like rating and to share it with your friends. If you were interested in watching either of the two videos on screen, you can click their respective annotations to be taken to them. The top one is going to be my live stream as an example, so if you want to see this being done in action, I will have that link there just so you can get more of an idea of what is going on. Also, make sure to click the giant logo on screen to be subscribed to more awesome Destiny 2 videos and live streams. Thank you guys so much for watching today, and I'll see you in my next video.